I read 12 books in the month of March. Let's talk about them. My first book this month was One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. This is heartbreaking. This is frustrating. This book was written fairly recently. I want to say 2023, 2024 was when it was published. And the fact that there has been no resolve for any of the issues that are happening in this book, despite the fact that we've had a few years since, is just, it's annoying. It's frustrating. It makes you feel nihilistic. I read a lot of nonfiction in an effort to educate myself on what is happening in the world, what event led to what event, give myself some context. And the fact that in terms of violence and imperialism, we're either going in circles or there has been no change or we're just rebranding things is infuriating. I absolutely do recommend this book, but you're gonna feel infuriated as I did. The next book that I read was James by Percival Everett, and I loved this. I was so impressed. This is a Pulitzer Prize winner, and I often feel that things like this are a bit too highbrow for me. This was written in a way that was so accessible. I've never read Huckleberry Finn. I actually tried to before I read this one because I wanted the context, and I was just so uninterested that I was like, I'm just gonna go straight into James. We'll see how we go. I knew a bit of the story of Huckleberry Finn, so with that context, I feel like I knew enough to go into this, and I would say after reading it, even if I didn't have any of that foreknowledge, it is written in a way where you don't need it. James' life and story and perspective is beautifully done. The examples of code switching are so well done because you're not outright told in the beginning that that's what he's doing, but as you see it happening and start to understand, it's impressive and it's sad and it's annoying that that was the reality of people. I absolutely love this. I think this was my first 5-star read of the year. And like an easy 5 stars, like I could even say 6. My next read was Disney High by Ashley Spencer. I was one of those kids who grew up with like the golden age of Disney Channel. This kind of talks about the scandals of Disney Channel stars at the time, what life was like for them on set, how they went about casting, how they treated kids as kids though they were working full-time jobs and keeping this industry afloat. If you are feeling nostalgia and disappointment because of the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special, read this. It might help a little bit. The next book that I read was The Art of Frugal Hedonism. I have major allergies right now, so saying frugal hedonism is really difficult. This was simple and I feel like really applicable. It's kind of tips and tricks on how to be more frugal. Also major perspective of needs and what you don't need and how overconsumption actually impacts our world. My husband and I try really hard to be conscious of what we're consuming and not be overconsumers, despite the fact that that is like how the world works right now. That is what it's like to live in a first world country. Everything is simply numbing with overconsumption. I really liked the perspective of this and the tips on how to be more aware of where your money's going. Next, I listened to The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I didn't know a thing about Kelly Bishop going in. I knew that she was on Gilmore Girls because I've watched it like 5 times. I did not know she was in the original cast of A Chorus Line, that part of it was based off of stories that she told of her life as a chorus girl. She's a baddie. This book is so well written. It's funny. It's interesting. She holds a place in culture that I did not realize. I was a theater nerd growing up. I went to college for acting in New York City. Broadway was about 50% of my personality at one point, and I did not realize the impact this woman has had. Loved this. My next book was The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. I did talk about this one a bit through the month. It was a hard start. It was an incredible ending. I'd say an incredible, like, last 50%, honestly. This was a great second book in a series. If you've watched me before, you may know that I have a gripe often with second books in the series because the first book is very clearly your setup. With the second book, you need to answer questions, but then also leave some open-ended. I feel it's a really hard spot to fill, and I do feel like this did a great job of that. My next book was The Dawn of the Cursed Queen. This is the third in the Gods and Monsters series. This is right after The Throne of the Broken Gods. I love the action. I love the plot twist. The ending was awesome. I am kind of getting to this point with the series, and I'm not even halfway through, where I'm getting a little bit over it. It's supposed to be 7 books, and I feel like a lot of the same things have been recycled over and over again. Like, everyone is betraying everyone. I feel like you can only do so many times. I've got like 100 pages left in the last one. I will be finishing it within the month of March. The Wrath of the Fallen is the final book that I've read in the month of March. This is being recorded last day of March, posted first day of April. By the time I post this, I will have finished this book. I am enjoying this one more. I'm having more fun with it. It's feeling like the dynamics and the pacing have kind of worked themselves out in a way where I don't feel like they were worked out the first 3 books. I'm excited for these last 100 pages. Last 100 pages of any fantasy book are where things just really get going. It's a wild ride. I can't put it down. I always plan to finish those last 100 within a day because I feel like they're meant to be experienced as one. I can't speak to the end, but this one may be my favorite so far, other than the first one. The first one was an incredible introduction book. That was March. In April, I'm planning to read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I also have 3 arcs that I'm trying to get through. And then I really think I'm going to try to read How to Protect Bookstores and Why. The area that I live in, there is not an independent bookstore within 30 minutes of me, which is really heartbreaking because independent bookstores are definitely like my safe place. I have been relying a lot more on libraries, which I absolutely adore, but I'm feeling a bit of nostalgia. So